Welcome everyone, and thanks for attending our panel. Today we will talk about the future of digital banking in Iraq. Welcome all.
Thank you.
First, we know now, especially after COVID-19, digitalization is everywhere, all industries, no exceptions, and we see organizations are trying so hard to follow and to provide maximum value for customers through digitalization. However, especially in Kurdistan, we still consider banks as traditional industries. So I'll start with Mr. Bruce. What do you think, what are the challenges that banks in Kurdistan facing in digitalization?
Thank you very much. Well, I can speak from the experience of the Department of Information Technology, especially what are the technical and non-technical challenges, really. A couple of days ago, the head of the department here spoke about the idea of digital identification, which serves as the foundation of the whole digital transformation of the Kurdistan region. Well, one idea is that you need to, and I guess this works out for the vast majority of the providers, they need somehow to know their clients, and that's what they call the KYC. For us, because we don't have a very strong and solid sense of digital identification, which we're currently working on, dealing with the private sector is currently not easy. So that being said, we're working very hard in order to make sure we have the infrastructure so that we can integrate with the rest of the providers, including the ones that you see here at HITEX and some of the friends here from the other providers. The challenges really is part of the technicalities. I wouldn't bore you with the technicalities, but there's also the non-technical parts where you lack legislation, you lack government policies and enforcement, where things are just not going to the direction of digitization at all. On the other side, you have a massive world that is every day technologically is sophisticated and advancing around you, but you keep just, running around in the same circle. And that's the kind of cycle we would like to break and introduce the government to become part of the new world of the digital transformation.
So I would like to ask you, Dr. Nawaz, same question. In your point of view, why you think banks in Kurdistan are facing challenges? What are the challenges they are facing?
Okay, first I will start with why we set up NASPay. We set up NASPay because we wanted to change the culture of payment in Iraq. And the challenges people were having to open bank accounts. A lot of the banks here, they don't have retail banking, so you don't have lots of branches of the bank all over the country. And a lot of people have to have multiple identifications to open an account. So we try to come up with an alternative solution where we can incorporate and provide financial inclusion for everyone, regardless of their occupation, their background. So we set up NASPay. We provide prepaid MasterCard at present. All it takes for someone to have this payment card is have one form of identification, complete a very simple onboarding form. Then within 10 minutes, they'll become the owner of their own payment cards, which is recognized all over the world, and they can go about doing all their banking transactions. So in the beginning when we started, the whole idea was very new. All everyone was aware of is having bank accounts. Then we joined with a bank and provided these co-branding cards. We have got into a stage within less than 4 years. Glad to say our customer base has expanded a lot. We have catered to a lot of young people's needs, especially people who are involved in technology, people who are setting up their online shopping sites, or people who are doing online training. So through NASPay, first we started with cards, then we started expanding our services to make payment easier for everybody. So we're providing POS terminals where people can use their card and make payments in stores. We're providing payment gateway where a lot of these businesses of startups and young people who've set up shops online, they can receive payments, whether it's through NasPay with the card or whether with our colleagues of Nas Wallet using digital wallets. So this is how we've tried to overcome the challenges the banks have. Another thing that we have done is to be able to reach everybody in the country. So whereas the ATMs and the banks are only available in the capital and in the big cities or within a very small area, we're available all over Iraq, whether it's the cities, the towns, even we're going to the villages. So even if we can't have our own branch, we've partnered with a lot of small businesses to become our agents. So these agents will top up your card for you so you can use your card, or you can go and make cash outs if you needed the money. We have 24-hour customer service in 3 languages. We have 24-hour reload centers. So whenever you run out of money and you want to do your online transactions, you can go to these branches of ours to top up. Even we went a step further during COVID-19, where everyone was on lockdown. We started providing delivery services. So we would come to your house to register you for a card. We will give you the chance to reload your cards as well. So these are challenges that a lot of the banks haven't been able, traditional banks have been able to overcome. But whereas companies like us and a lot of companies like us that are coming into the industry are trying to overcome and make digital banking easier for everybody in the country.
Thank you. So, Mr. Duan, you're from China, and China, like
Yeah.
one of the leader countries in digital banking.
Yeah.
So I want to know your opinion, like, and give us examples and talk about your experience in your country and how digital banking is benefiting your society.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Actually, digital banking has been developing in China many years. And now, digital banking is everywhere in our life. And the people and the society has benefited from the digital banking a lot. So, for example, in China, we have 2 digital banking providers. They are the internet giant. One is Alibaba, Alipay. The other one is the Tencent with the WeChat. Yeah. So with this, their platform, once you have a username or your account, you will have a digital wallet. And then you can attach all your bank card, including credit card, debit card, to this e-wallet. And this e-wallet, you will make the payment for everything. Hotel, train, air ticket, shopping, online shopping, so everything. In China, people come out, go on the street, and people don't take cash or take a bank card. They only take their phones, because the phone will do everything, every payment for them. Once a time, I bring a German friend in China, and take you out, and I take the for example metro, and also go out for dinner. Then I didn't take any cash or card. Everything is paid by this phone. He feel that this is amazing. Yeah. Another thing is that, for example, I have a daughter. I have two daughters. Our daughter is 14 years old, a teenager. Every day after school, she need to buy some snacks or drinks, to relax herself. We didn't give her cash or card, and this is not safe, or maybe not enough. He's wearing a Huawei digital watch, and there's a barcode. This barcode connected to my Alipay account. I'm living in Dubai. My daughter is living in China, and she pay, with the barcode, and then I will receive message that the amount is deducted from my e-wallet. And my e-wallet can either charge, the amount from my balance in the e-wallet, or charge directly to my credit card or debit card. It depends on how you configure it. Yeah, it's very flexible. For example, if you take cash, go out for dinner, you need to think about how much cash I need to take. If this is not enough, maybe after dinner you want to have a drink. Maybe the cash is not enough. But if you have e-wallet, then you have enough money in your mobile phone. Then you can do anything you want. Then you can enjoy yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Mazen, in Correct Telecom, you know, like we don't have, people are not like heavily using digital payment. So in your opinion, how we can attract people to be users of digitalization banking, digital banking?
So digital banking, banking in general in Kurdistan and Iraq doesn't have the trust of the people. And that's because of a turbulent history that it's had due to recessions and war and the counter-terrorism measures where transferring money outside of the country has not always been very easy. And it's still a challenge for most, especially for small businesses, when they need to transfer money outside, when they need to transfer money even within the country, you need to go through quite a lot of paperwork. Digitalization it's not just making something electronic and creating an app. It's rather simplifying the processes and then giving people the convenience of using it through an app, through a mobile phone, through their laptop or whatever other means that we can give them digitally. For us as a telecommunication sector, we're still very cash-based. And in fact, that creates issues for us. Sometimes the cash comes in late, so we are late on payments to the vendors. We're late on payments for our partners, and that's because of the cash. For us to be able to attract more people, we cannot be the only ones accepting it. Even though we do accept digital payments, but we're still a very small part of the economy. The government and the private sector need to create the infrastructure first for people to be able to use digital banking. They need to be able to use it for everything. And, you know, in China is a very good example because you can use digital currency for everything. You can pay digitally for, well, not digital currency, sorry. Don't think of cryptocurrencies. I mean through digital banking. You can pay for everything. While here, most places still don't accept it. So the first step is easing the banking sector's regulations, where people can more conveniently deposit, withdraw, and transfer money. Second is for the infrastructure to be there, for people to be able to pay, not just for telecommunication, but even for supermarkets, for other services, for restaurants, for entertainment, clothing, whatever other type of shopping that they do. Then we need to make sure that we integrate it everywhere so people can easily get it. And one of the things that Dr. Nawal mentioned with NASPay, how they have agents everywhere and they're bringing small businesses to become their agents. And that's very important because for me as a customer, I want to be able to go deposit my money at the nearest point. If in a city like Erbil you have only 2 points of sale, then it will take me forever to really drive there. I don't have time to go every week, drive half an hour to go withdraw money and deposit money. So it's really important to make it easy for people to access it.
Thank you so much. As Mr. Mazen said, we have trust issues. So, like, for the government, what are like your strategies to overcome this challenge? And how can you, like, if you talk about the legal strategies, because we have issue with the security, cybersecurity, banking are like attractive target for cyber criminals. So if you tell me more about your legal strategy.
Sure. I mean, first off, going back to the points that my colleagues here made, the idea of going digital with payment is not something that is going to happen overnight. And to suggest that we should do that in a month or two so that we go full digital, I don't think it's a very wise idea. Mainly because, as you said, there's trust issues, and Kurdistan doesn't have a proper banking system, so that also creates a problem. For us, the strategy is as follows. So we are digitalizing services one at a time and one after the other. For each of those systems, our priority is that we integrate digital payment with those kind of services. Apparently, the government provides 400 plus kind of digital services for the citizens. And one after the other, we are keen on making sure that these services will be using digital payment instead of a cash. So that in the next 5 to 10 years, you go absolutely cashless. And for that, you absolutely need the private sector. This is undoable alone by the government. And it's actually not something that we recommend from the past experiences of our own government and also other governments around the world. The government should not be the party that is doing this. For that, you need the private companies and the private sectors cooperation in this. And luckily, we have been with coordination with all of these fellows here and the other providers as well to make sure that we have a way that we can move forward, perhaps not on a large scale immediately, but gradually. And one of those services, I guess, that here comes also the significance of the government in here. The government is the largest employer in this country. It will again have a large impact on the flow of digitalization of money. If you will be able to cooperate with different providers to pay, for example, salaries, then you're out of the box enabling lots of opportunities for digital services and digital payment in the country. One of the issues that we will be, and going back to Kagmazin's point, is that you need use cases for this. That's why there's a codependency in this. The government cannot do this alone. There's a private sector dependency, and there's also the private sector cannot do this alone. There's a governmental dependency in this. So you need to break the cycle and take a gradual approach for this. And that's so far what we have been doing in order to make sure that in the next years, we'll make sure that digital payment is at least part of the vast majority of our services in Kurdistan.
Yeah, so I think, like digitalizing the payroll system and providing enough ATM machines in the country will help a lot. Dr. Nawal, I want to ask you, you said we should have like, let's say ATM, and not just in the city, everywhere, even outside the big cities, so people can easily use digital banking. In your opinion, do you think our people are ready or like at the level they accept the digital banking? Do you think if we measure their, let's say, level of acceptance will be high and they are ready and wanting to use digital banking?
I think the same as everywhere around the world. This is a process. We're going to change from cash to digital payment, whether this is payment by cards, whether it's by digital wallets. So the whole idea, to be honest, for us, not for people to use ATMs. In the whole of Iraq, you have less than 700 ATMs, and you have a population of 40 million people. For example, in a country like United Arab Emirates, where the population is probably between 3 to 4 million people, they have 5,000 ATMs. So you can see the shortage of ATMs in our country. Our whole idea is, as the gentlemen have already said, we need to be an enabler, and especially the government need to bring around rules and regulations, as I said before, to enforce every single business to have different payment methods available.
You mean restaurants and stores?
Everywhere, whether it's a hospital, it's a shop, even a small store around in a small area. This is what happened when Europeans revolutionized the banking sector. So they said, you're opening a business, it's fine, but your customers have to be able to pay in different methods. So I have to have a POS machine. I have to have a QR code to accept payment from a digital wallet. I have to allow people to use cash. So you have to have different methods. This is the only way we will be able to change the culture of payment. We need to go a step back. As this gentleman said, in China, as the father, as the head of the family, he has one account where all his children, his wife, and everyone is connected to this account, and they can use the account, and he gets no notification in real-time payment. How does real-time payment happen? You have to have cooperation between the different banks. You have to have cooperation between the different payment sectors. So we transfer communication, and we will know from this minute when you make a transaction using my POS machine, but his bank, they communicate with each other, and they'll notify the provider that this payment has gone through. So this is another step that we're going to take as NASPay and with our colleagues as NasWallet and other providers here, is to start going into schools, even with Correct Telecom and other providers, to educate the young people. We have a very vibrant young population. They're all gamers, they all want to have their own, even like Facebook. A lot of young people are using our card to sponsor their accounts on Facebook. These are our next generation of customers. So getting parents to have accounts, to provide these services to their children and start from a very young age. In the past in Europe, you had to be 18 years old to have a bank account.
Yes.
But now they've gone down as young as 13 years old, sometimes 11 years old, just because the parents is the guarantor. They have the mobile app. They know how this child is spending. Even going to school, taking cash was a big problem. So children were getting bullied, people were taking their money. But now they have cards. And all the schools, the government said they have to have electronic payment. So these are examples we can learn from. Even learning from developing countries and from telecom providers that provide mobile wallets. Right now, in the whole world, there's 310 mobile money providers working with large operators. During COVID, these numbers exploded, so they become the only payment method in that country. So there's a lot of examples we can learn from where the government comes in, where the private sector comes in, where the telecom comes in, and we all partner together. So one of us cannot do it without the other.
That's true. I totally agree. So, Mr. Duan, what are the factors, like the critical factors you think influence the success of digital banking in China?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question. This is about, why the digital banking has been accepted in China widely, how to attract the people to accept a new thing. If you want to sell some new thing to people, it's the best way to sell them together with some other thing. For example, if you want me to know a new friend, it's better you introduce this friend to me if I already know you. In China, digital wallet or digital banking always never comes alone, always comes together with something old. For example, like Alipay. Alipay do the online shopping, e-commerce, and then Alipay is the payment system. Then they build the e-wallet there. Alipay already have a lot of users, and then easily for the users to accept this e-wallet. And Tencent is the WeChat is a chat, software, social media software. They already have existing users. When they introduce the digital banking, then this is easily accepted by many people. And another example, the third largest, for example, the e-wallet is a Huawei wallet. Huawei is a phone maker, and then many people in China have Huawei phone, and Huawei introduced the Huawei wallet in the phone, and then people, accept this e-wallet easily. So, never let the digital banking come alone, come together with something, people already familiar with. Yeah, this is the first thing. The second thing is at the beginning for the digital banking, in order to attract the people to use the digital banking. For example, if you save money in your wallet, and then you will have a yearly yield. At that time, it's around 7% yearly yield. It's much higher than the bank. You didn't lose liquidity. You can cash out the money anytime. But if you keep the money inside, you have daily, yield. And that is average yearly 7%. But in the bank, if you want to have this such liquidity, the yearly yield is less than 1%. So this encourages the people, to transfer their money from the bank card to their e-wallet. Yeah. So that user, user number increase exponentially. Yeah. Quickly, very quickly, a larger scale. Yeah. Everywhere.
Thank you. So, Mr. Mazen, you mentioned that if you have like digitalization payment, you will focus more on the, let's say, the business more than the process. That's what I understood. So in Correct Telecom, do you have any plan like to overcome these challenges in traditional way of payment?
So, of course, in fact, the only people in the country who can actually do it are the telecom people. because of what I mentioned earlier. People have lost trust in the banking sector. And they say once you lose trust, it's very hard to regain it. What needs to happen, this has to happen from the government side. The people have to be given a reassurance that in a turbulent country like Iraq, whatever that goes wrong, they will not lose their money. The smallest inconvenience is not going to cause a run on the banks where people withdraw their money, because the banks really survive on the availability of money that they have with them. So these challenges have to be addressed. For us, we're pretty much, we've been doing somehow digital banking since day one, because the credit that they have is a currency that they can use, but it's just limited. It's not like digital banking as we know it, where you can use it for everything. They can use it for our airtime, for our value-added services, for our data. So the challenges here that need to be addressed from our side, where we can help to a certain point, but we cannot fully do it. We cannot fully get it done because we merely don't have enough data.
Yes.
Here the solution is big data. The answer is big data. And we need to have reliable data centers and databases in the country where we can actually track people's spending behavior and be able to give them a credit score. Without that, digital banking is just going to be, the wallet is just going to be an extra step for people to put the physical cash in there and then use it. If you don't have the convenience of taking micro loans, if you don't have the convenience of being able to get a certain limit of credit. So us as telecoms, we can provide this data to a certain point because we can see, we can track how much a customer is spending. We can also help on the digital side of it. However, this cannot just be done with the telecoms. However, it cannot be done without the help of the telecommunication sector as well. So the telecoms in here are important, but they are not fully sufficient for this matter. Which is one of the reasons the regulation now is that telecommunication companies cannot have their digital wallets. That's why we have our sister company, NAS Wallet. Our competitors have their sister companies as well. For that, we cannot put it under there because it's a whole new set of regulations from the bank. The government has also to take into account that they have to ease the regulations, and I cannot emphasize that point as enough. If they ease the regulations, it's actually going to make things better. It's a counterintuitive thing because you put restrictions on banking where the central bank can actually track these transactions. They can actually track the money, where it's gone and where it's coming. So easing it is better for them. Otherwise, people will stick to the tradition of cash. A big SUV can hold millions of dollars in cash if you want to transport it, and you can transport it anywhere, and it's really hard to track, even in a country that has so many checkpoints. However, if you do it through the banking sector, it's much easier, especially if it's a digital one, where you have it stored, and the government can have its own data centers where these transactions will be there. It just takes mere minutes for someone to go extract the data and look, okay, where has Mazen done these transactions? Where has his money gone? And the person who's received this money on the other end, where has it gone from there on? So this money can be fully tracked. For us, this has been what we've been doing, but to a limited extent. So we are the best asset that the government has as the telecom sector to learn and build off of the model that we've been working on.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, in my opinion, the future of digital banking in Iraq will be great, and because after COVID-19, we found out that we are isolated from the rest of the world, and we should be more active and to make the digital transformation in banking faster. Thank you all for your speech and your opinions. We are out of time, but we can take questions from the ground. Does anyone have any questions? No? No questions?
Seems we explained it very well.
Yeah, great job. Thank you so much. Thank you all for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.